I just want to know if I need to like plant a whole bunch of flowers to have bees, or if the bees will just go find flowers. Is it the one with like the triangles everywhere?
Have a sec. Nina's making a lot of noise, and I want to wait for her to finish.
Classic Dina.
Finish opening the bag. Oh, you're trying to
I couldn't
open
even
it the
hear her
weird
opening the
way.
bag.
You can't, you said?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing as a Serbian film, only like
In
everyone's wearing
Siberia.
like winter coats the whole time, and like you can tell it's snowing. Noah, did you watch any good movies this week?
Why, by golly, Jackson, I certainly did.
Noah, are there any video game franchises that you are a fan of that you would like to discuss?
Why, by golly, Jackson, there certainly are.
Wow. Good thing that we are here on another episode of Off the Air.
We
starring
are?
Us.
Oh, I hate that. I hate
and
that
sometimes
a lot.
Dan.
But Dan's not here right now.
Dan's not here right now.
But Dan did send us a picture of his new office, and I do like it a lot.
Favorite? Good spot. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I do like that inclination though. Just like the like I'm reading a prompter type of what I was going for. Yeah. God knows we don't have a prompter for this show.
I wish we did sometimes, so I would remember what I wanted to say before the episode. Because for some reason we start recording and I'm like, I remember nothing.
I do that every time I wake up.
Yeah, I feel that too.
So yeah. Noah, see any good movies this week?
I have. So
I think you know what you pick which discussion point we're gonna talk about first. They're your discussion points. I'm not gonna segue you into movies first, then game. If you want to,
I'm good with talking about movies first because it's the oldest in my memory. So last week, right after recording, I watched Host on Shudder, which is a movie that is just based around a seance in a Zoom call, and that's your whole plot. The movie is 50. I think it's 56 minutes, but if you don't count the credits, it's 54 minutes long. And
okay, it's pretty short.
Yeah, it's round about the length of a free Zoom call. It's round about the length of a free Zoom call.
Do you have to pay for Zoom calls?
You get 40 minutes for free, I think, or 50 minutes for free, something like that. I think they messed around with the time a little bit. I think it's like a 40-minute free call, and then beyond that, you have to pay for like a service. But yeah, the movie was very good. The fact that it was essentially a found footage movie that didn't like cheese its way through like mistakes and problems just using glitches, glitch screen and stuff like that to hide cuts, was really cool. The nice thing about Zoom is that everyone knows that Zoom has buffering problems. So every now and then people would like freeze for a second, their audio would glitch out. The entire thing was filmed in Zoom. There's a lot of really cool stuff about it. I don't want to get into any spoilers, but I do plan on recording a patron episode about it.
Okay.
Because by golly, it was such a good movie.
So I'm seeing a RPG dialogue branching paths in my head right now, where I want to talk about scary movies in terms of like their scariness, but I also want to talk about found footage movies. You know,
we can do both.
So yeah, but I just want to say it out loud so we don't forget. Because I know if I just started talking about one, I would forget the other.
Right. Let's do found footage first, because we can transition to something else from the scariness thing.
Do you have a favorite found footage movie?
So
I mean the host, is it found footage in terms of like someone has a hand camera and they're like, oh my god, guys, or is it like just like screen recordings that have been captured?
It is just screen recording.
Okay.
The whole thing just looks like someone recorded the Zoom screen.
I'm kind of a sucker for found footage movies. I don't know. I just like them.
I really
someone
don't.
holds a camera and goes, oh my god.
A lot of found footage really rings bad for me.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think I could get past that, because I think that's part of the fun, right?
It is.
Like,
yeah.
it's
like I like Cloverfield. I admit that I think Cloverfield is cool and good.
Because it's one of those things where I've heard nothing but good things about Cloverfield. So one of these days, I'm actually going to get around to watching it.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
But one thing that I have heard is just like, or not that I've heard, one thing that I don't always care for is just like, so much found footage is just like the same basic setup. Hello, we got reports that this apartment building is haunted, so we're going to come in and we're going to set up some cameras. So they have the excuse of having multiple angles. But
Oh, see,
then
I
for
thought
some
you were
reason,
until you said set up some cameras. I was like, this is quarantine slash rec, depending on where you live, I guess.
now that is
And
a really good found footage movie.
I like both of them
Wreck,
fine, honestly.
but I like Wreck more than Quarantine.
I think they're just so similar, and so the quarantine doesn't feel as good because they were literally just doing a shot for shot remake with some flair.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know, Rec's cool. Rec's good. It's
I never
fun.
watched any of Wreck's sequels, but I watched the kill counts on them, and
I was gonna
they
say I've
kind
never
of look.
watched any of Rec sequels, but I've watched Quarantine too.
Wreck 2 looks really good, but the rest of them look like they go off the rails. They also did abandon the found footage element, though.
That's
So
a shame. I don't like to see that. Although I don't know if I think Quarantine 2 may have abandoned the found footage element also.
interesting.
I haven't seen it since like 2015, so I don't know for sure because I remember it not being very good.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I just
Yeah, fair enough.
I think Cloverfield is my favorite found footage. Quarantine and Wreck are both pretty cool though.
Mhm.
I don't know. They're just like they feel like they're supposed to be zombie movies, but then they're like it's not zombie movies.
Yeah, they're
It's
like it's a possession instead,
yeah.
which honestly is very found footage. Possession movies are just I
Oh
don't
yeah.
I think that might be my issue with found footage is hauntings and possessions go hand in hand with found footage so often, and I think firstly, those are two things that kind of feel played out to me generally, and also or mostly because people just don't do them well. Secondly, those are things that actually get to me sometimes. So I'm like, the possession angle that is. So I'm just like, I don't know if I want to watch this. So,
I also like the Blair Witch.
mhm. I really need to get around to watching that sometime. I've heard
I
very,
like the
very good things.
yeah. I mean, it's like to be. I think it's kind of credited as like the big like OG like spooky found footage that turned into a mass hit. I know there's other found footage movies before that. I mean, like Cannibal Holocaust is a polarizing one that exists.
By golly, it is. Uh,
Um, and then
I'm never gonna watch that one.
I haven't seen it.
It's Cannibal Holocaust and like Siberian Film are on the list of things where I'm just like, you know what? I just
I
don't
think
want
it's
to.
Serbian film.
Or did I say Siberian? I did. I
Yeah,
meant Serbian, but you know what I meant. So
yeah, I did.
unfortunate, right? But yeah,
I
I'm
like the
not
idea of it's the same exact thing as a Serbian film, only like
in
everyone's wearing
Siberia.
like winter coats the whole time, and like you can tell it's snowing.
I like the idea of it, but also I have no desire to watch that because it just sounds like a very bad time to me.
Yeah, yeah, they're like, eh, um, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of like the hostile type, like not to be like hostile wasn't aggressive, but like the movie Hostel, like the little
Mhm.
hotels. Um, I don't like when it's just gross.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people saying great things about Hostel all the time, but I gotta be
No,
honest, dude, I just don't like it. I think it's just not fun.
it's no fun. I like fun horror movies, like Cloverfield.
Mhm.
Cloverfield's fun. There's a big monster.
Mhm. There's I love fun movies, and movies that take themselves too seriously are real hit or miss for me, you know? Cloverfield definitely is just like, yeah, we're here to have a good time."
Chronicle is another found footage movie. Have you seen that one?
I don't think I have. I
I saw it when it first came
Oops.
out, so forever ago.
Back in
But I just remember
2012.
it's just like basically a whole bunch of kids get superpowers, and it kind of takes like the similar like a Watchmen type of route, or maybe like The Boys
Oh,
is a
I
better
remember you and
where
Dan talking about this once.
yeah we talked about it before. Where like sometimes if you get like a group of people with powers, there's a good chance one of them is going to be terrible about it.
Mhm.
But they one thing they do with like, the found footage style is like they can do like panning zoom shots because the characters have like telekinesis, so it's canon that they're moving the camera with their minds for like these panning shots. It's kind of funny.
I just adore the implication of it being like, yeah, we just kind of wanted to make ourselves look cool while we're killing people. Heh.
Well, they're mostly just fighting each other.
Oh, well, fair enough.
But yeah, what do you think? What's your scariest movie? What movie scares you the most?
Ooh, good question. I'm trying to think because there have been a few movies that like have put me off in a big way, but I can't remember the last movie that like scared me. I mean, The Host scared me, or Host. I mean, not The Host. The Host is Korean film, very
It's
good.
true.
But
I
Host
haven't seen it.
scared me, but it was not. It's not the scariest thing I've ever seen, but I can't remember off the top of my head what was the movie I last watched that made me like uncomfortable to go to sleep at night. Because there was one in like the last 2 years, because it happened here at my apartment. But for the life of me, I don't remember what it was.
Could be anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm past this now, but I remember the first time I watched the movie Saw, I had a dream about it that one of my managers was running for president, but
Okay.
she was also Jigsaw,
Oh
and I
no,
was the
you hate
only
to
one that
see it.
knew that, so I had to keep it secret.
Well, did you keep it secret?
I don't remember. I woke up, so I'm gonna go out on a limb and say yes.
Would you keep it secret?
Um, no, I don't think I
Yeah,
would.
no, I ain't a snitch, but like if someone's a serial killer and they're running for president, those are two things that I hate people who do that.
Mhm.
So it's like, man,
Yeah, I
it's the
couldn't
double
get past
whammy.
that. I don't know. Man, what was the movie I was thinking of?
Mine is not like obscure, but kind of obscure
Mhm.
and super specific. You ever see the movie Slither before?
Slither.
Yeah, it's not like it's not a. I mean, it was fairly. It had some big name actors in it.
Mhm.
Michael Rooker, I think.
I don't like this poster. There's a lot of stuff slithering into the bathtub.
Yeah, and that's a
Oh, that's
scene that
some
happens in the
body
movie
horror.
too. Yeah,
Oh,
a
they
lot
get
of body
melty.
horror and yeah, they get melty and there's little slithery boys that try and crawl in your mouth and infect you.
That's gross.
Yeah, not good. But
Hmm.
it's like that movie. Like it did. Like this movie itself isn't very scary. It's actually like a little bit actiony.
Mhm.
But just like the idea of just like little like parasites that are big old worms
Mhm. I really hate stuff
and
like that. Like,
and there's like millions of them. It's not like there's four or five. It's like there's like a scene where like this really bloated woman and she explodes and there's just like millions of worms everywhere.
ugh.
Yeah, very gross.
Yeah, parasite horror throws me off in a big way. That's for sure.
Hmm.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Psych.
Oh no.
Actually, curse you.
Let's see.
Um.
I'm looking through some stuff right now, some lists of movies to see if any of these trigger the "oh yes, I was afraid of that" button.
mm,
But it actually just looks like a bunch of movies that I haven't seen before on here, so
I
that's
don't
kind of
know.
neat.
Yeah, most of the time for me, it's just like a movie that I saw, and then I was like, "Man, that wasn't that scary." And then later, like
You just
in
think
the evening,
about
I'm
it
like,
a
"Man,
lot
that was kind of
longer.
scary."
Mhm.
It's like I don't want that to happen to me. I think, and for that reason, like I think the creature horror, where but not like where it's just like that creature's no good.
Mhm.
That's I think what gets me the most. So like let's see, so Slither is like a big one.
Yeah.
And then there was another one I just popped in my head. Oh, The Mist. Maybe it's just like people exploding and like things coming out of them.
You
That's
know
a
what?
scary thing
I'm
to me.
willing to buy that. Yeah.
Yeah, like because like the scene where the lady explodes and all the worms come out of her in Slither. No good.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
Scene where the guy explodes and all the spiders come out of him. Actually, kind of sick. I don't mind that, but that's not the part that scares me the most. I just don't like the little like things that sting you through the
Mhm.
window. The little bees. The spiders I thought were kind of cool because they got little
Spiders are
like
neat.
people
I hate
heads.
when bugs pop out of people, though, so it's just like,
Yeah, I don't like that usually in
hard
real
pass,
life or
hard
in
pass.
fiction.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, don't like that. What's another one? You know the scene with the bear from Annihilation.
Yeah.
I don't like that bear. Actually, I kind of you know what? Never mind. That bear's fucking sick as hell.
So, I never got why so many people were put off by that bear, outside of the fact that obviously it just, like, was a little uncomfortable.
You know what's the scene from Annihilation? It's the one where the guy's got all like the tubes writhing around inside of him. They cut him open.
Mm.
That's the part from Annihilation, not the bear. The bear's cool.
Mhm. I always thought that the bear was cool as hell. I was just like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
it's just a
man, look at
skull
that."
bear and it talk.
Mhm. I guess the
It's got all
talking
the
is
cool
what
things
puts
about being a
Dan off the
bear
most, because Dan
and all the cool things about being a parrot.
yeah, Dan hated the fact that it talked. How it's because his thing was like, the voice is just wrong and stuff like that. And, I don't know. I recently found the, actual model of the skull. I posted it in the server in the horror chat. And it's really freaking cool. It's got a bear skull with a people skull on it.
That's kind of what I have
Like you
going on.
yourself?
Yeah, going up in my gourd.
Oh, nice. Hope your gourd gets better.
Oh, I do have a people skull.
Mhm.
I do have a people eye.
It really do. See, I guess I'm better at remembering movies that kinda, like, made me laugh than that actually really scared me, and maybe that's just my mind being like, "Ah, let us forget this movie." But, like, oh, what was it called? Dead Shack? Very, very funny. A lot of people tried to bash it for having unrealistic, like, conversations, but it was like a dad and a stepmom and his kid, and the dad and the kid were, like, super immature and just joking around. I think they made, like, 2 or 3 different dick jokes, but it all flowed really
Nice.
naturally, and I'm like, "Nah, yeah, this is fine. I will accept this."
I will accept this. Yeah, there's not that many movies that like actually scare me, and like it's not watching them that scares me. It's like it's like watching Slither and then being in the bathtub.
Mhm.
It's like that. Like, it's kind of like the Hitchcock, like whatever the thing they said was.
Yeah. Where it's like one of those things where like you're really not that uncomfortable about it, but then
Yeah,
you
like
get
making
put in
people afraid
something
of
that's like
birds.
close enough to the situation. It's like, oh, maybe I am a little unhappy.
Yeah, and like yeah, and like the Psycho coming out, and then like the movie Psycho, and then being like, oh, it makes you afraid to go to the shower in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
It's that effect, but about more modern horror where it looks scarier than stabbing through the curtain. Instead it's bugs shooting out of you. I
Bugs
wonder
do
what would
that though.
happen if you were to go back to like the 13th century and just show like a peasant like
Anything?
well, yeah, first of all, literally anything. But like the horror of like the modern horror imagery that they can see in a video format because like there was some pretty spooky wood etchings going on back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Um, but even like the scariest of the wood etchings are most it's like this guy is getting boiled by demons.
Mm-hmm.
I want to I want to show them bugs popping out of you in real time. You know, I just feel like that would scare a peasant.
I mean,
But I
like,
also feel like just showing them the xenomorph from Alien would scare a peasant too.
mm-hmm. I feel like it's one of those things where effects are good enough that people who don't know that things can be faked are going to like 100% assume that it's real, you know?
Yeah,
And
like every Facebook post I see, they're all real.
I mean, they are though. You
All
say
that
that like it's
news
a
is
joke.
real. I'm not joking.
Mhm. News is always real. Anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah, on the subject of scary things, I played what oh
Sorry, I
my
just got
gosh,
scared.
I totally blanked on the sentence of
You played Dead
I
Space.
played Dead Space the other night.
That's right. Sometimes we talk about what we're going to talk about before the podcast starts.
Yeah, we do.
A look behind the curtain.
But yeah, I played Dead Space. It's the first time I played that game in a solid I mean, I know I've tried streaming it before, but I didn't get very far into it just because the game is very clunky
Scary.
and scary. Yes, it's very scary,
Scary.
but mostly clunky. And it's just not the sensitivity is really weird and like kind of underwater for all of the PC stuff.
Underwater is a different movie and it's bad.
It is a different movie, and by
We
golly,
saw it together.
it is something. Sure is something.
It's Kino.
Ooh. But yeah,
It's cinema.
um, it's the first time I played it in a really long time. I really enjoyed it though. I forgot how much I really liked Dead Space. Most
Mhm.
importantly, I forgot how much I loved Dead Space's lore. And then when I first played this game, this was back before I really ever touched YouTube. So I didn't have YouTube to tell me what the lore of the game was. All I knew was what I picked up from just in-game reading books.
Yeah.
And I think I actually joined a forum, which is now a like locked down private forum that I might still have access to. But I didn't know how forums worked, so I didn't really do anything with it. But yeah, I love Dead Space. I love the fact that just what is it called? Unitarian. I think they're the Unitarians.
Oh, the little church.
Yeah, the church where they're just like or Unitologists.
Personally, we think we should end the world.
And they're just like I remember the writers of the game had to make a statement and they were like we are not intentionally making fun of Scientology with our space religion. We happen to make up a game or we happen to make up a religion for our game that primarily focuses on paying money to achieve certain ranks of the religion and it happens to resemble Scientology. And that was pretty great.
You know what I want to see in like a horror game or horror movie or horror franchise?
Hmm.
I want to see like one of those like you know how in a lot of media that deals with like eldritch beings or otherwise world-ending devastation, there's always like a cult that's like we love the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
We pray for the end of it all.
Yeah, it's just like one
I
of
want
those
to
things like
see
why?
yeah, I want to see a group like that, but instead of just being like raving lunatics who just like stab people, they're like, yeah, man, actually, like I do think that it would be for the best if Cthulhu were to come down because logically speaking, if you were to hypothetically not end the world with the wrath of the old ones, then really our hubris would just continue to expedite our own death. So I personally think that it's best if we allow the old ones to retake the planet like they used to be able to, because truly they were here first. It is their planet. Yeah, I just want to see like a like a sci-fi death cult that talks like an internet debater
Mm-hmm.
that like just is like genuinely insane. Much like many internet debaters. Looking at you, Ben. Ben Shapiro.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Just in case you didn't get that from my hypothetically. Yeah, I just feel like it'd be funny to watch like a sci-fi movie where the death cult is led by like some podcaster who gets a whole bunch of 13-year-olds to think that what they're saying is right, even though it makes no sense.
I mean, I gotta say, as the years go on, that is more and more likely.
I mean, it's no more. I mean, we used to have witch hunts, so
Ah, shoot, you're right.
I don't know. I don't know if it's more likely.
I guess
They used to be like, well, factually speaking, if she floats, she's a witch.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's. I think that what was his name? The witch hunter general?
I don't know.
I don't know. Some British asshole who just killed a whole bunch of women because they tried to read. It was like that time of the world. He was the Ben Shapiro of his age, and I will not back down on that take.
I'll take that.
But yeah, I think horror sci-fi death cults are kind of funny to me because they just make no sense. The only times they make sense are in the scope of it being like an actual like eldritch, like Cthulhu type being where they are being driven to madness, so they're not themselves, they are like irrational, and that's usually how they frame it.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be funny if they were just like, no, we're absolutely sane, we just genuinely believe
they're
this.
just sitting there acting hyper rational. It's like no, don't do that. The movie The Void dealt with that a lot.
Is that the one?
Not the hyper rationality, but death cult.
Is that the one with like the triangles everywhere?
Have a sec. Nina's making a lot of noise, and I want to wait for her to finish.
Classic Dina.
Finish opening the bag. Oh, you're trying to.
I couldn't even hear her opening the bag.
You can't. You said.
No.
Oh, here. Let me open it for you.
Nina, I'm sorry that Noah passive aggressively told you were making too much noise. Oh, now I can hear the bag.
That's because it's right in front of me. Now I also get the first Cheez-It.
Oh, congratulations.
But yeah, it's the Triangle movie.
I just love the use of they're like, I'm sorry, but Nina's making too much. I imagine you like craning around in your chair, opening the Cheez-It bag.
Yeah, I definitely didn't mean it to come across that way, but it definitely did.
It didn't. I just, in my brain, I was just like, somebody in the room is making too much noise.
If only Nina would stop just crunching down on Cheez-It, someone might be happy. That someone is me.
This is a Nina call-out podcast episode. Bring Dina back on the show.
The big call-out on my Twitter.com.
Oh, speaking of your Twitter.com, you tweeted at me earlier today.
I did indeed.
Yeah. About the Mountain Goat. Whomst shirt I'm wearing right now.
Oh, you are, huh?
I am, yeah. I mean, it's one of the 4 shirts I own that's not a work shirt, so.
Fair enough. But yeah, I'm really enjoying them a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
That's good. What you been listening to?
So I listened to let me call up Spotify so I remember. I was listening to the Sunset Tree album a lot on the way home today. Because it has Up the Wolves on it, which is one of my favorite songs.
It's got Up the Wolves, it's got This Year, it's got Hast Thou Considered the Tetrapod is my favorite off of it. Actually, Love, Love, Love is my favorite off of it. But nothing but bangers. It's a classic album, and that's the first Mountain Goats album I listen to because I feel like it's a good starting point. It's studio recorded, and like if you look at their like top 5 songs on Spotify, I think 3 of them are from that album.
I think it's only 2 now. They got bumped down by something else.
Oh, probably.
The new single.
I know No Children has been pogging up because of it was using a big TikTok audio.
As
So
many candles as possible is up
popular.
there with like almost no plays just because it's the new
That's the
single.
new one, yeah. From They're Getting Really Into Knives, which I ordered an enamel pin from. Very
Nice.
excited.
But yeah, then I started listening to songs for Pierre Chauvin.
Okay, it's the
And-
newest album, the good one, yeah.
Because I remember you saying that he just like broke out a boombox and recorded into its shitty little mic.
Yeah, the classic Panasonic. Well, that's how most of or not most. That's how a lot of their albums are recorded. It's just literally like John Darnielle, sometimes some other people, but just with an acoustic guitar sitting in front of the little Panasonic boombox singing. That's why there's like a big hum to it, which is like a big thing. People like that. But a lot of their albums are studio recorded as well. That's been the trend. More of their more recent ones are all studio recorded.
Yeah, makes sense. If you
Oh,
can,
yeah,
you
because
do.
they're like with a label, and they've got, and it's not like it takes anything away from the music either.
Exactly.
I like the hum and I like the old stuff, but that's never. It's not going to go away. Just because there's new stuff coming out.
Yeah, and I only got a couple of songs into this one just because it was really quick before I went into Walmart, and then I had forgotten my headphones, and then on my way home. But I really love Until Olympius Returns.
Mhm.
Returns.
Yeah.
I love the intro where he's like, This is actually
Mysterious
fully
Gap.
recorded and ready to mix and master, and then there's 7 seconds of silence.
Yeah, you can actually get like they sell merch that's like all hail the Mysterious Gap. It's a funny
Mhm.
little quip. Yeah, they're a really good band. I could talk about them for hours till the cows come home.
I I mean, I think I talked about this before. I had never really listened to them until we were on the road trip down to record with Dan for the in-person
Yeah.
episode. But I really like them a lot now. And I don't know, it's just I don't know, I'm gonna try and get into some more folk punk. I like the idea of just like banging away at an acoustic guitar while yelling at people.
Well, and that's like I think the Mongols really hits, in my opinion, like the quintessential folk punk stride, which is like they don't lose the folk element of like storytelling throughout the song, because a lot of folk punk is just like this is good, but it's just punk with a banjo.
Mhm.
Whereas like the Mountain Goats is like I'm gonna sing to you a song about smuggling cocaine across international boundaries, um, but it's also going to be like I don't know. It's also got like the acoustic and like the hum and the indie production.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the folk sound, but it doesn't lose the storytelling aspect, which is something I love. Which is what I love about folk.
Mhm.
Like Bob Dylan songs, like a lot of them are stories that are told throughout the course of a song,
Mhm.
and I think the Mountain Goats really does that well a lot. But some of them are not. Some of them are just like bangers.
I enjoy the story element of the songs. I enjoy just how minimal some of them are, but they don't feel lacking. They just feel smaller, and that's
Hmm.
really great in my opinion.
Yeah, and a lot of them are honestly like in the they're most of them are in like the same key, um,
They
but
really are, aren't they?
but you can like I can still tell them apart really easily.
Mhm.
So they're not repetitive in that they are in the same key, which is impressive and also important if you're making music that you don't make it music that feels repetitive.
No, yeah,
Looking
it's
at you, Rise Against.
Rise Against. I'm not convinced that they've put out more than 4 songs.
I love them though. That's the thing. I genuinely really enjoy listening to Rise Against, but I cannot defend the fact that most all of their songs sound identical.
I feel like my big issue with them is that so many of their songs sound the same, but they sound the same in the realm of, "Oh, I don't really feel like listening to this."
Yeah, exactly. You can't like binge listen to them
No,
at
you
all.
really can't. Which bums me out because I wanna be able to, because I
They're fun.
remember really enjoying them growing up. Marine introduced me to them.
Ironic.
I know, right? I remember him specifically saying that he wasn't sure if he should text me their name or not because he's like, "Well, I don't want your
Did we talk
parents."
about this on the podcast before?
Maybe
I
because
feel like we might have, or we just like mentioned we talked about it in person
because
recently.
yeah, because he talked about how he didn't want in case my parents checked my phone,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
didn't want to incriminate me by having like anti-government music being referenced or something. And I'm just like, what do you mean in case my parents check my phone? My parents don't do that.
Yeah, I do like I like Rise Against. Probably I just think they're fun, but I
Yeah,
think they're kind of like baby's first anti-government music.
they really are.
You know,
They're also vegan.
yeah, good for them, I guess.
It's one of those
Speaking of
things
being a
where I
vegan,
learned about that and I'm like, you know what? Not surprised.
I want to get a beehive
I would love to get a beehive. How is that speaking of vegan though?
because you can't have honey.
Oh, I was gonna say last I checked, vegans don't eat honey, but I guess we are
But
on the
yeah,
same page.
that's why. Yeah, if I had a beehive and I was a vegan, would I be able to eat my own honey? Obviously, I could do whatever the hell I want because that's how this kind of thing works. But like without getting flack from the vegan community, could I just be like, hey, I'm gonna eat some of the honey from my bees?
I'm
Or do
gonna
you think
go
they
out
would
on
be
a
like,
limb and say
you're a
no.
sinner?
Yeah, I don't think vegans are okay with eating honey like flat out at all.
Yeah. Well, the thing I don't know. My biggest problem with vegans is like it makes sense, and I feel like it starts in a good place,
Yeah.
but then it devolves into like you shouldn't be. I mean, this is definitely like the communist in me coming out,
Mhm.
but like you shouldn't focus your anger on the idea of solely the meat industry when the like large farming industry is actively destroying the planet's topsoil
Yes.
like rapidly.
Mhm.
The large agricultural like plantations are a menace to society, and you shouldn't be like I'm better because I don't eat the dead animals. I think it does make sense because like yeah, the animals do hurt when they are killed. Um, but if that's the pain you want to get rid of, I mean, you should also worry about the fact that our planet is being destroyed by large agricultural companies. So your $1 head of lettuce isn't worth it. Now, granted, a $1 chicken sandwich isn't worth it either because it also profits from the same industry. And I think instead of turning into the end product, you should turn towards the process in which the product is created.
hmm
So instead of being like, I'm a vegan, you should be like, I buy things ethically.
hmm
That should be your target, not your diet. I mean, some people do it for dietary reasons, and if that's the case, whatever. But I feel like your diet shouldn't be what inhibits you. It should be where you are sourcing your goods from.
hmm
And
I can get
that's
behind
why
that.
I think a lot of vegans end up feeling to me like kind of like the armchair Marxist types where they're like, I am a vegan so I can help the planet. And you're like, okay, what do you do to help the planet? They're like, don't eat animal
Hmm.
products. I'm like, okay,
Did
that's
you
what I
not
thought.
hear? I said I'm a vegan.
Like, okay, so this is where I thought, but that's not always the case. And there's plenty of vegans who are actively working towards making things sustainable and community organized, and that's awesome. But I
Yeah.
don't think that I think the two are very much separable
hmm
between being community organized and community oriented and being vegan.
Because I feel like it's one of those things where obviously there's some minor slippery slopage that you're able to get into of becoming like complacent and being like, well, I mean, I'm going to always do or like source my food ethically when I can, but the stuff's already dead and in the store, so I'm going to keep buying it for the time being. Like, obviously, that's just going to continue the problem if that's something that you're
It's
conscious
true.
about, you know? But I don't know. Once I get out of this apartment and I have some more like fridge space, I would love to start like buying like I don't know, dude, like a freaking half a cow, half a pig. My friend raises pigs,
Mhm.
and I know people that sell beef. Like I could get like as ethically sourced food as I possibly can, and I would love to be able to do that rather than like going to Walmart and buying food from
Yeah.
them.
Well, yeah, because like it's tasty. It's not necessarily cheaper usually.
No,
Although
it's
when you buy in bulk, it can be, but it all depends.
I feel like
Um,
the taste to cost ratio makes it balance out pretty heavily though, because a lot of the
yeah,
time
I
it does
agree.
taste that much better.
And then when you throw in the fact that you're supporting not only local businesses, but you're not giving your money to the large businesses that are destroying the world,
hmm
that's pretty sick. Like that benefit definitely weighs out in the end there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I just think having a beehive would be fun.
Would love to have a beehive. I absolutely would love to have a beehive. It's one of those things that's very high on my list of to-dos.
Hmm.
But once again, it's something that I can't do until I have a yard. So,
Yeah, I don't know that much about beekeeping, but I do have a yard.
see, the good news is that beekeeping is actually like stupid easy from what I understand.
It's passive for the most part, isn't it?
Yeah, you set up a hive and you just I I don't know if you don't harvest honey the first year if you like give them a year to like stock up, but after a point they just simply generate more honey than they ever will need because they're preparing to fight against like, you know, bears and other animals that come in to eat them. So they're always prepared to do stuff like that. All you need to do is make sure that you set them up with their lower areas so that they can have the brood down there and honey because obviously you don't want to accidentally pick up any larva in your honey. But
You don't.
I think that definitively makes honey very not vegan if you do that.
Crunchy honey.
Don't like that.
Um,
Ew.
I do remember seeing. I saw a post recently on Tumblr that was like, obviously, it's like someone was bashing vegans, and it's that stupid rhetoric of people were like, you're the worst person ever if you're a vegan because you're eating the animal's food. Like,
Man,
all
I
right,
get so
dude,
sick of
you
that.
win. You welcome to Reddit. You've won.
Mhm.
Here's some Reddit gold for you, cool guy.
Tips Fedora.
But yeah, it was like that kind of thing, and then
Mhm.
like there was like back and forth in which it culminated in someone being like, yeah, but then like you can't actually ethically source honey because how they extract it from the hive is they spin the bees.
What?
They spin the bees.
I did not know that that's how corporations get honey.
It's
I guess
not.
it's
It's
not.
not. It's
Thank
not.
goodness, because I didn't want to
It
believe it,
might
but I
be
do
for like
believe it.
maybe that's how like major corporations get it. I don't know. But like how you get the honey usually. Well, there's new systems now where you don't have to do the extracting later anymore. You literally just like there's like a drawer the honey like falls into on new hives because they're built in a certain way.
I was gonna say I've seen
But
some that have a little crank handle that like just
yeah,
shifts the honeycomb pattern so it breaks everything up and lets it run.
yeah, that's kind of like the new age stuff. But classically, they had like this thing called an extractinator, and you put the honeycomb in there, and then it spins really fast and pulls all the honey out of
Mhm.
the comb.
That way you get to
Um,
leave as much comb intact as possible so the bees still have comb. But it's not like bees are
exactly.
all over the comb when you take it out of there.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to play with bees.
Absolutely wild.
I have a bunch of berries for them. Got some elderberry trees. Got 2 raspberry bushes. 5 blueberry bushes.
There you go. See, I feel like that's the way to do it. If because you want to supply them with as many like flowers as you can, and if you want to have fun, tasty honey, you want to have fun, tasty flowers for them.
Elderflowers. Ooh, that'd be fun.
Ooh.
That'll happen because I have 5 elderberry trees that are massive. So
Hey, there you go.
put the hive there and say, "Good luck, bees,"
Have fun.
and remember, have fun. How many bees do you think you could get?
I mean,
Like,
thousands and thousands.
oh, of course. I mean, like, I'm talking like hives. Like, how many hives do you think you could set up? Do you think there's like a ratio where they're like, "Hey, no more bees than that"? Like, then you're just gonna have too many bees, not nothing for bees to be sniffing.
I don't know. I feel like,
I don't
let's
either.
see. How many bees is too many?
Depends on if you're allergic, I guess.
Let's see. There's 50 to 80,000 bees per hive.
Okay.
How many
So like, if I
flowers
had like,
to support a beehive?
I mean, I could still
2
go on their
million
own.
flowers will be visited for 1 pound of honey. Wow. A honeybee
Mm.
visits between 50 and 100 flowers during one collection
But
flight.
yeah, but they don't get everything from a flower on a single stop. So
No,
it's kind
no,
of like
definitely not. How many flowers do a bee visit per day? 2 million flowers. Okay, so this is the same thing that I just pulled from before, but a range of 55,000 miles. I'm assuming that that's like,
every bee flies 55,000 miles a day.
okay, so that's okay, not a range. That's just how much they fly to make 1 pound of honey. 15 times per
Good
day,
for
100
them.
flowers each time, so about 1,500 flowers a day. Bees collect 4 to
A lot of
5 pounds
bees.
of nectar every day. 1 pound of honey equals visiting 2. I hate these little Google blurbs because they chop up the information in a really unclear way.
I just want to know if I need to like plant a whole bunch of flowers to have bees, or if the bees will just go find flowers.
I think they will find flowers, but would also, if you're looking to maintain a hive, it might be best for you to
Do they just start the
have some
whole
stuff.
bee thing on their own, or do you have to like put some bees in there as a starter?
You do need to get some bees. I guess you could try and cultivate a wild hive, but the easiest thing to do is I think you can buy
A
a really
bee.
small starter of like a queen and a bunch of bees
How does it arrive?
in a box. I'm pretty sure it's like a box of bees,
Ooh,
and there's like
ooh, I can't wait
some
to play with
sugar
my
in there,
box of bees.
and
Don't open that bee box too early, kid.
I'm pretty sure I've heard stories about people who like call their local post office and they're like, "Hey, just so you know, I'm getting bees shipped to me. So look out for that." And then the box will show up and it'll be like labeled caution live bees and people get dead terrified because of course they do because you just had a box of bees shipped to
Look
you.
out for the bees.
But yeah, you got the queen in there and it's just not a good
Good for her.
time apparently.
We respect her.
It's best to try and locally source your bees as much as possible. I know a lot of if you have any friends who are local bee farmers, what are they called? Bee farmers, not bee farmers. Beekeeper.
Beekeepers.
There it is. If you have any beekeeping friends, a lot of the time when a new queen pops up, there's actually multiple queens and they fight each other to see who can
To the
become the
death.
real queen. And
Well,
sometimes
I-
once the hive becomes big enough, that'll split off and go elsewhere. So some beekeepers will actually offer to like sell their queens to
I would not buy one of the queens until the fighting was over, so I could make sure I got the best of the queens.
oh, you don't want a chump queen. Yeah, you want like a good strong queen, the best queen there is. Or at least the second best because, still pretty good. I don't know.
Sounds good to me.
Love to get into beekeeping. It just seems like a very, very good time.
Well, I could definitely like get some beehives. You can just come over every once in a while and play with the bees. It's kind of like dogs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why not?
Hey, can you take my bees out for a walk? I'm gonna be out of town for a couple days. It's like fun though. Yeah,
Just tie a bee to a string and be like, all right, heading out.
I wonder how much honey I would actually use. Not much. I mean, I'm not a big honey eater. I mean, I am, but like being a big honey, like if you eat honey even a little bit every day, you don't go through that much honey at all
Mm-hmm.
because you don't need a lot of it to do things. You know?
You really don't. I just want to get into mead making.
Yeah, me too.
I think it would be a lot of fun. I think it looks very, very simple. You just need a seal, like, what do you call a liquid seal? What is that seal called? You know what I
The
mean.
one-way seal.
Yeah. You need a one-way seal, and then you need a big, like, sterilized glass jar, and boom, you're, like, good to go.
I have both of those things.
Psh, you're good to go.
That's how I made ginger beer the other day.
How'd that turn out?
Yeah, it's all right. It was way too spicy,
Really?
but I still drank it.
I feel like that
Not
would be really
spicy.
nice.
They just do too much of that ginger zing.
Mm-hmm. I suppose that makes sense. Sometimes
Yeah,
they
there
do
is a
just
seal.
have a little bit of a to them.
Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll get them in the next round. Probably not though. I don't know if I'm gonna make it again. It was fine, but I'm not that crazy about ginger beer anyway.
Hmm.
I just thought it might be fun to do because I was at Whole Foods and they had organic ginger, so I was like, oh, I'll pick some up.
I really enjoy ginger beer. Maybe
Which
I'll
for the
try it out.
15th time on the podcast, Whole Foods in Erie is not actually a Whole Foods, as in like the store. It is a thing called the Whole Foods Co-op, and it has no affiliation with Whole Foods Market.
Hmm.
I just figured I'd say it because we say it every time, pretty much.
Yeah, I usually do get all confused about that, don't I?
It is confusing. It's the Whole Foods Co-op is it just sounds like it's a Whole Foods Market, like the Amazon owned one, but it's not.
Hmm.
Literally just a locally run grocery store.
I do miss the co-op. I need to check them out again sometime. I thought about like actually getting like a membership there, but I know I'm not going to shop
What
there
happens
enough
if
to
you
make it
get a
worth
membership?
it. That's a great question, and I don't know. I know you get a
They only
discount
go
once
every.
a month, but that's all I know. And I don't think whatever I'm going to buy is going to be worth the discount. So,
Yeah, I don't really like every time like, I go there like probably once every couple weeks. And they're always like, "Are you a member?" And I'm like, "Nah." And then they just don't do anything. They're like, "All right, cool."
mhm.
So I'm like, they don't ever offer me the membership. Not that they have to. It's actually almost kind of nice because most everywhere they're like, "Do you have a credit card with us?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "Do you want one?" I'm like, "No." Sorry, Bed Bath and Beyond. I don't want to get a credit card from you.
I've always been confused at how much those like various places really just try and push their credit cards on you. I know it's like they have to. I know they're
Yeah,
supposed to, but
like the
like,
employees, if they don't sell like a certain number, they actually get like reprimanded,
mhm.
which is stupid as hell. You're telling me that if not enough people come in the store who want to open up a credit card at Best Buy, I'm gonna get like a demerit on my record, and if I get that 3 times, I'm fired.
That's it's so dumb. It's like, come on. Why be like that? Why do that thing? There's no point in it. It's just being really rude
Well,
to
the
your
point is that
employees.
you get money,
Yeah. I don't know. I just
and if your employees don't make you the quota of money that you believe they should make you, then you get rid of them. And if they say, "Hey, that's not nice," then you say, "Too bad."
I don't like that.
I don't like that either, actually.
I feel like it's fine to like reward employees for managing to sell a lot of cards, like
Yeah, that's
good
fine.
for them, but I feel
Yeah,
like it's absolutely atrocious to penalize them for not selling enough.
I used to work at a place where you got if you had what they call a perfect ticket, which is like if a table came in and they got like um drinks, either alcoholic or just like drinks that had like a cost to them, like lattes and stuff,
Mhm.
or also if they got and then they also got an appetizer and they also got at least 2 entrees and then a dessert. If they got like basically if they got everything, like if you sold them everything in terms of like courses, then you could enter you give them the receipt and it'll have like your name on it, and then you get entered into a little drawing, and at the end of the month they draw one name and you get $100 if you won.
That's nice.
Yeah, and no one except for me and this other guy did it, so basically we just one of us would get $100 a month pretty much depending on the month.
It's a good deal.
And then they stopped doing it because no one was doing it except for us, and they're like, well, like we like you guys, but we're not just going to give you $100 for no reason if no one else wants to participate in this program. I was like, yeah, that's fair, I guess.
I mean, I guess it's fair, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, just let the employees have nice things. Make there be a good
Yeah,
reason to
but
work there.
they it was like advertised and like everyone knew about it, and then just no one did it, and they were like shelling out $100 a month,
Mhm.
and people weren't even trying to sell extra. I mean, I was, and I probably had sold. I don't know if I sold over $100 in profit. Maybe that's what. Maybe they ran like the receipts and like this isn't even making us an extra $100 a month. Maybe that's what happened. I don't know because I feel like I maybe did it like once every shift or two.
Mhm.
Who knows?
It's not as
Uh,
easy to
what
do,
else?
I suppose.
Oh yeah. So when you mentioned Dead Space, I mentioned Dead Island.
You did mention Dead
Before we
Island.
started recording.
Yeah.
Um, so
The
Dead Island is a
vastly
game that
inferior
holds.
Dead franchise.
I don't know. I disagree. I
For
think Dead
solo
Island is.
player?
I mean, there's no multiplayer in
There's a
Dead
multiplayer
Space 1
versus in Dead
Dead Space
Space
1 or
2.
2. Yeah, but if you played it, it's bad.
Oh yeah, no, it's awful. And then Dead Space 3 had story locked behind multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, so then
That was awful.
so I think Dead Island is a superior game.
Okay.
But I mean, obviously Dead Space is a better single player game, but Dead Island is a fine single player game and it's a really fun multiplayer game. That's where my take comes from.
Mhm.
And I mostly play games multiplayer. I don't really play anything by myself.
Yeah.
Very rarely anyway.
I remember my favorite part of Dead Island being the soundtrack. No Room in Hell
Yeah.
and Who Do You Voodoo were both really
Who Do
fun
You Voodoo
songs.
was so funny. And actually just like a fun song too.
Mhm.
Sam B.
I think my favorite
And the fact that like
Oh yeah.
the canon part, like in canon, the guy who sang "Hoodoo You Voodoo" was a playable character you could be.
And one of the best ones
You could
too, if
just
you were
be
just looking
him.
for a like very general purpose like Punch Boy, I was like,
Oh yeah, because wasn't his like special like he just like goes and like puts brass knuckles on or something and just beats the hell out of everybody.
it was either that or he just had like more health in general. I think he was the tankiest guy.
No, like his ultimate ability or whatever. Did he like punch?
I don't remember.
Because you know the one lady, um, like her ultimate was like she went into knife mode and she could slash everybody, but it was like just a weaker version of the punch ability that he had, so it kind of sucked.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Dead Island is one of those games where I think it falls in a very cursed niche, where it's the game where you'll play it for 2 hours with your friends and everyone's having a great time,
Mm-hmm.
and then one person's like, "All right, I'm gonna get off," and everyone's like, "Yeah, it's fine. Well, we'll play something else," and then you never play it again.
Yep.
And then 6 months later, you're like, "Hey, let's play that again. That was really fun." And then everyone's like, "I don't remember what we were doing. Let's just start a new campaign." And you play for two
Oh,
hours.
it is like that, isn't it?
It's that game, yeah.
Yeah. Oh shoot, it is definitely like that.
It's that kind
I
of game. It's really hard to play multiplayer unless you've got like a committed ability to. Like if you're doing like a stream of it or something where you have like a time set up. So it also falls in the same category as Divinity in my brain, where like it's the kind of game where you'll play for like 2 hours and then people will be like, I don't want to start a new character. I don't want to start it. I don't remember what that character was doing because it's been a month and you never get off the stupid intro island.
mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look through my Steam and see if there's anything else that's like
I
that
feel like
in
that
there.
was like Left 4 Dead sits in the same like
Yeah,
realm for me. Even
but the
though
nice thing about Left 4 Dead is you can just do a
Mhm.
single off.
Yeah, and that is where it's a little bit better, but it's one of those games where I never play it except with other people, and now in my mind I'm just like, this is that game that I just end up playing it for like 1 or 2 rounds too long, and I just really kinda get sick of it.
But the thing about that separates it from the kind of games I'm talking about is there's no like carryover progression in Left 4 Dead 2. It's like each map you start new, and there's like things you can unlock, but like for the most part, each map starts you like a new setup. Whereas like Dead Island and Divinity, it's like you have a progressive character that goes throughout the game.
Mhm.
Let's see, I'm looking through my
One of these days, I
games
would
to see if there's
really
anything else
love
that's like
to
that.
actually finish Divinity with Dan, but I'm worried that we never will, not because neither of us want to, but I just think that we never actually will.
Yeah, yeah. Then there's a lot of games like that. Um, Torchlight 2 and just Torchlight in general.
Mhm.
Uh, I kind of had I've had the experience with Vermintide as well.
Mhm.
Like both times I played the original and the sequel, it's kind of been like this is really fun, and then before you know it, everyone's like, I don't really want to play this anymore, or at least not right now. And then you just kind of like everyone's offset from each other. There are some redeeming factors to that one, like because they're scaling, but
Mhm.
Dark Souls also has the same effect.
Yeah.
Multiplayer games, it just they're designed to have multiplayer, but it feels like the game wasn't made for multiplayer.
I've always felt like that with I feel like that like on both sides actually with Dark Souls because I feel like there's certain areas where it's clear that you're supposed to have a friend with you just because of how people come in and fight you. But at the same time, I feel like if I actually had someone with me, it would be like, well, this just isn't fun now.
I think Dark Souls is in my brain. Dark Souls exists as a co-op game,
Mhm.
and it's infinitely better. And I had Dark Souls street cred because I probably have 500 hours in the Dark Souls franchise.
Nice.
A little bit more if you count Bloodborne, but that's on PS4, so I don't know how many hours I have.
Mhm.
And like I don't know, I find it an infinitely more enjoyable game with friends because you can just do like wonkier builds and you can just like make like matching characters. Like my
Yeah.
friend and I did a run as Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Nice.
Yeah, we just like just we're doing stupid stuff, and we made our characters look as much like them as possible. I did a run as like a Love Live character with a couple of my friends who were also all doing Love Live characters, and that was funny. Yeah, it was just I did Paul Blart Mall Cop run with Hank Hale as my friend.
Yeah.
And
See,
just
there's fun
just
stuff
fun
like that
things.
that you can do. I guess I've never been able to play with people because I played Dark Souls 2 when it first came out, but I died enough that because you can only summon people when you're like not dead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was never in that state because it was my first
Mhm.
Dark Souls and I didn't know what I was doing. So
I think Starbound and Terraria also kind of fall into that category.
they definitely do. And I'm looking forward to once again playing the rest of Terraria with Dan because we are getting into the realm of hard mode now. I think what we just need to make sure that we do is we go through and actually I don't know, actually make sure that we have collected enough stuff so that when we launch right into hard mode, we don't get our asses handed to us because I'm pretty sure I don't have a good suit of armor yet.
Oh, Terraria. It's a fun game.
I recently finished it on journey mode just because I wanted to see the game play out, and journey was the easiest way for me to do that because it
Hmm.
just basically hands the end of the game to you. And I had a lot of fun with it. I now would like to play a game of Terraria where we just go and we mine away every single block in the world.
You can. Although Terraria to me suffers from the Skyrim difficulty
Mhm.
idea, which is you're like, let's play on expert mode or master mode because I've beaten Terraria a couple times and I like the challenge. But expert mode and master mode are just stupid. They're not fun. They don't make the game any different. They don't make the game any better.
It just makes it
Um,
harder to beat.
well, not even that. They're like, what if we gave the enemies twice as much health?
Mhm.
And you're like, all right, this just means I'm gonna have to take longer to do everything. And then in master mode, they're like, what if we gave the enemies 3 times as much health? Can you do something more fun? Can you give them different like attack patterns or like maybe like some different like abilities or something different than just we gave them more health.
That's one of the things I've really enjoyed about Dead Space. I'm playing it through on medium right now, and back when I used to play the games, I only ever played it through on easy because I was just like there to play the game.
Hmm.
And I figured, why not? I'm not bad at this game. I know what I'm expecting. There's not any jump scares that are going to get to me, so I may as well just up the difficulty a little bit. And they not only did they make more enemies appear, but in the first areas, I'm actually getting hit by some like higher level enemies that I don't think I had ever seen before.
Yeah,
And apparently, if you complete them all on the hardest mode, you actually will manage to unlock special items like a one-shot gun that will just automatically kill everything. Which I feel like that's a fun little thing
it is
to
fun.
earn if you actually played through the entire game.
It sounds like fun.
There's options for a new game plus, so after I finish this run, I may try it again just to see if my like upgrades carry over and just like pimp out a character. We'll see.
Yeah, it's a good game.
I like it.
It's a good multiplayer game. Risk of Rain 2.
I've heard good things about both of them.
It has come out of early access recently. It's really good. I still like the first one better, but everyone, my friends, is like, no, the second one's way better. Also, none of them played the first one, so it's really hard for me to convince them to play the first one, but it's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's my take.
Sounds like a
Um,
good take.
yeah, I think the second one's really good too. It's a lot of fun. It's cool. It looks good, and there's a lot of depth to it. But I don't know. I like the first one a lot. A lot of good memories to it.
Yeah, makes sense to me. I can't think of any good like multiplayer games that I have that kind of memory with the exception of Halo 3. Halo 2 and 3 I have a lot of good multiplayer memories with just because my brother and I just like played that like versus mode to death. And it was always a really good time.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Halo Reach. I had a lot of good multiplayer fun on that.
Mhm. I was a weird elitist purist. I never liked Reach. I didn't like the running. Which
Oh man,
it's
you
it's a super obnoxiously vanilla take to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a Halo fan, but I hate everything after 3 because they insisted to make running a
so you
thing."
like Star Wars too then?
Um, you just don't understand the majesty of Star Wars. I finally heard a Star Wars take that I loved recently. Um, Talking about how the original trilogy aged poorly because now they're just kind of a slowly paced sci-fi slog that isn't fun. Um, and I think that was like in defense of all the people that actually like the prequels a lot more than the original trilogy. And I feel it, like it makes sense. They're faster paced, they're cheesy fun. It just works. I don't know. I've run out of things to say. Let's wrap this up.
Sounds good to me. Noah's out of things to say. I could never be so, unfortunately. um, Welcome back to another episode of us logging off.
Bad B-U-B-B-A or B Jeez, wow, I forgot how to say
You
that.
got it. You got it.
You know B-U-B-B-A-D-A-B-A-D. At OTA podcast, the off the air on Patreon. We have a few shout outs we need to be getting to. I think I actually forgot last month to do just the regular tier shout outs. So shout out to
Mm.
Edge and Michael because boy howdy,
Shout out.
I'm a monster. Oh wait, no, this one
Yeah.
comes out this month still. We're still good. We're still good. Hey, Edge, Michael, thank you for supporting.
You're welcome.
Um
That was me doing my impression of them. Thanks, guys. We appreciate it.
and shout out to Cloud and Emma. They didn't turn in anything that they wanted us to say, but high key appreciate them. They're both absolutely fantastic people. Cloud's the one that does a lot of work on the wiki. She's the one that started that. Emma, of course, meme queen herself, starting up a D&D podcast soon. So keep your eyes open, or your ears, I should say, open for that one. We'll make sure to let you know the name and everything Well, it does have a name. I just don't remember what it is off the top of my head. But once everything's going, keep you in the loop on that. Jacksonium with 2 M's. Anything to say?
Whatever. No, I'm good.
All right.
Usually it's just one M, but sometimes it's two on social media.
There we go.